Hello! Welcome to the More Than Able podcast. I'm Margie, along with my wonderful friends from the Learnability Network, Mariah and Fatu. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
So, this podcast is specifically going to cover the ways of the world that we're living in right now as far as unique differences. I myself have a unique difference. I have what is called hydrocephalus, which means water on the brain. And I have what's called a VP shunt that is tubing that runs from my head all the way down to my abdomen and drains cerebral spinal fluid. But I also have a nonverbal learning disability that sometimes when people talk to me, I have a hard time understanding them. But I am totally just living life as a 30-year-old, and I wanted to kind of put myself out there with this podcast. And I went to a regular elementary school and middle school and high school, just like my co-hosts here. But my journey was a little bit different. I went through the special education program. I needed a little extra help with writing and just taking tests and everything, and I had great teachers and what are called paraprofessionals or teachers' aides to help me along the way, and I made great friends. And I wanted to do this as a way to kind of give back to the community and also be a voice, because we are more than able, and we can do just as many things as people who don't have learning disabilities or unique differences can do. Right, ladies?
Absolutely.
Very true, Margie. I couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, you put that right perfect into words.
So
That's beautiful. Very inspiring.
Very.
Thank you. Yeah, so a little bit more about me. I am 30 years old. I love to read. I love to sing. I love to hang out with friends. And I have 2 volunteer jobs at 2 different hospitals. One is where I help out with the Mother and Baby Cafe once a week. And I help out on the level 2 Skyway information desk, answering phones, directing people to patients' rooms and other areas of the hospital. And I've been doing those volunteer jobs it'll be 8 years in June, but I love the jobs and I love my bosses, love my coworkers. And so yeah, Mariah and Fatu, do you want to talk a little bit about where you guys work?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I work for the Learnability Network. I worked for the Learnability Network for about a year now, coming up in March. So, yeah, 1 year. And before that, I was in North Dakota. I started doing DSP work, which stands for Direct Support Professional. About 5 years ago. I was in school for nursing, and as a job, I worked at CCRI, which stands for Creative Care for Reaching Independence, and I worked with a wide range of people with different unique differences. So I did that for about 3 years in Fargo, and I just realized that my passion has always been for caring for people, which is why I went into nursing. But while I was doing DSP work, I really realized that I love to work with a community of people that have unique differences. It just brings so much joy to my heart, and I love seeing the growth that they make and just all the amazing things that they contribute to the community, and just hearing their stories and where they've come from and how they've gotten here is just so amazing. So I moved to the cities, and I worked as a behavioral therapist at Minnesota Autism Center for a little bit, for about 6 months doing ABA therapy, and then I found Learnability Network and it just clicked, and then I met Margie, and now here we are doing this podcast and bringing it to life, and
That's
it's just
so
so amazing.
exciting.
Yeah. How about
Wow.
you, Fatu?
That is hard to follow, Mariah. That amazing answer, I've got to say. My name is Fatu. I'm another co-host. I have been with Learnability almost a year now as well. I started a little bit after Mariah, so I think my anniversary will be in July, my 1-year anniversary. And I love Learnability. I love the individuals I work with. I guess I started my college journey in 2018, and I study psychology, and I felt it was just right to find a career that lined up with what I was studying.
Absolutely.
So being able to kind of learn about the human mind and the things that make everyone have unique differences was just intriguing to me. And I also have a nephew who's diagnosed with autism. So kind of watching him kind of grow and mold himself into this amazing individual and not be confined to his unique difference is just something so beautiful to watch and kind of just inspire me to want to do more in this field and meet people that just have so much life and energy, and I kind of just feed off of it. I love caring for individuals. I love being an asset to someone. So yeah, I think this is something I could see myself doing forever, really.
And
I agree.
I don't
Yeah.
know about you guys, but through the job we all do, I've never met such interesting, cool people. I've
Same.
made so many friends
Yes.
So many
through
friends.
this job. Like,
Yes.
the people that I spend my days with now wouldn't be the same if I didn't do the work I do.
I forgot to mention that voice you just heard was our talented,
Oh.
amazing producer, Mrs. Jasmine Pedrosa.
I tend to just exist in these spaces as a disembodied British voice from the heavens. Nobody knows what I look like. It's a mystery. I am just a voice from behind the microphone, behind the camera. But I'm the one who presses record on all of this, so.
Oh,
So-
there's way more to it.
Way more. to
Yeah,
it.
Jasmine, you kind of have a real in with learnability. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
I do have an in on learnability. I've seen this company, this organization, go from being an idea in someone's mind to being a real thing with employees and clients, and the difference in everybody's lives that I am associated with, like my family. It's a family business, really. Like, I don't know, it's weird to say it's a family business because there's only, like 4 of us. We only make a very small percentage of the employees, but it's insane how intertwined with it we all are. Like, every time I see Wheel of Fortune come on TV, I'm like, oh, Margie's watching. I know she is, I can tell.
One of my guilty pleasures.
Or like, I see that it's raining outside and I'm like, oh, I just know this is giving this person a hard day, and it's like, man. And then you think, oh, I should shoot him a text. Like, it's not just a job, and I'm not gonna say it becomes your life, because it doesn't. It enriches your life, I think, the Learnability Network. It definitely has for me personally, and again, I have that different perspective with living with the CEO, for want of a better title.
Yeah.
For sure.
Job definitely brings so much fulfillment and joy into our lives.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if I could even take a moment and just like give Callie her flowers, because I feel like she's just
We're all
Yeah.
silently clapping. You can't see because this is a podcast and it's not a visual medium,
Yes.
but we're all silently clapping.
Yes, honestly, Miss Brown is just extraordinary, and for her to just start, like what you were saying, with a small vision, and
It was an idea
Right.
in someone's head,
yeah,
and now we're making a podcast.
literally.
Yeah,
Whoa.
just like this was an idea.
Yeah.
Right.
This was an idea, yes, and now here we are all together making this podcast,
Yes.
bringing it to life.
Yes.
Holding it.
Absolutely.
That's so cool.
Yes.
Definitely.
We are setting the stage and we are paving a way for lives to be changed, for actions, for everything in this world that you guys work in and I live in every single day, to be recognized and to just have these stories be told. And I mean, I'm a church girl, and so I'm getting preachy here, I know, but I
absolutely do it.
I am feeling so passionate about this right now. And actually how this idea came to be was I had wanted to do a podcast, but I wanted to go in a different direction than this. And then, like, I was talking to Mariah about it, and I was like, I want to do this. And she was like, okay, let's go. I love it. But then I had a feeling in my heart that was like, okay, what you want to do isn't the right thing to do. And then it took my mom saying, you need to do a podcast on unique differences in Minnesota. And I was like, there it is. And so I didn't text Mariah. I called her and I was like, we need to take this in a completely different direction. And Mariah, what did you say?
Oh, I remember I got that call and I got chills. I just got chills and I was like, this is the perfect idea, Margie. Like, I couldn't think of a better idea. Like, this is such a topic that needs to be talked about and it can bring so much inspiration and so much value to people's lives and really touch others. And it's just a really amazing idea. And I think it's so awesome that now here we are and we're bringing it to life. And yeah, we're gonna have many stories
I
too.
feel so lucky to be able to like sit in this chair and watch you guys do this. And can I say, I think you guys picked a really great name. You just really hit the nail.
Shout out to my friend. He was the one that came up with it. Yes.
More than able.
Yes.
Shout out Aaron.
Yeah. I was talking to him one day and I was telling him about this idea and he said, you know what? You should call it More Than Able. And we have a tagline that we will say at the end. So yeah, I'm really excited about this, ladies.
Yeah. And Margie, what I think is really remarkable about your story, you were diagnosed about 6 months, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
What did the
8 months. 8 months.
8 months. And the doctors, what did they say at first?
They told me I was never going to walk and I was never going to talk. But now here I am, age 30, doing all those things, doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Breaking down barriers.
And I had my first shunt placed. A reminder, a shunt is tubing that runs from the head all the way down to your abdomen and drains what's called cerebral spinal fluid. I had that placed at 12 months old by an amazing neurosurgeon, and he believed in me when other doctors were like, oh yeah, we're gonna put metal plates in her head and this, that, and the other thing. And my parents were like, no, you're not. You're not doing that to our daughter. But this neurosurgeon, my mom and I were talking about this the other day, sat me down on the floor, little baby me, and started putting wigs on my head and said, Margie's gonna have hair and this is how we're gonna make it work. And I am forever grateful to him and to my parents and the incredible occupational therapists and physical therapists who I'm hoping you'll get to hear from on this podcast, because they're just as much a part of my story as anybody else, because I wouldn't be here sitting in this chair without their support and their guidance and their help and my family's love and guidance and support.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That is so beautiful. You have such a light, Margie, and you shine at every room you go into, and you just bring so much light into people's lives. Like, truly
Yes.
inspiring.
Definitely. And Margie and I have kind of worked together for a little under a week, I want to say, or a little
Yeah.
over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And every moment, there's just so much insight. You bring so much positive
Mhm.
energy to the table. I've
You
just
really do.
been so comfortable around you, and I tend to be a little shy at times, but your story, everything about you, the family you come from is just so inspiring, and
It's so inspiring.
I want to give you your flowers as well for just being this awesome person.
Well, thank you, Fatu.
Of course.
Fatu and I were reading a book yesterday, and she was so sweet. She was like, I'm not the best reader, and I was like, it's okay. I can handle it. And we had fun
Yes.
Yes.
reading.
What
So,
book did you guys read?
It was called Flip.
Oh, you're reading
Yeah.
Flipped?
Yeah.
I love it.
yeah.
We just
so-
finished, what was the book called? Turtles All the Way Down?
yeah, Turtles
Mhm.
all the way
Yeah.
down.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
It
We...
talk about a girl with unique differences.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go off tangent here for a minute. This writer took a character and made her almost relatable. Like, she lost her dad at a young age, so it was just her and her mom. And she struggled. Like, she, get this cut on her finger. And she would, try and just make it worse
Mm-hmm.
for herself. And then she would obsess about it, like, this is gonna kill me. Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
literally going to die. Despite all of her friends and family saying, no, you're not, you're fine. And even her psychiatrist saying, we can help you, we can put you on this medication. And
Mhm.
she gets these voices in her head that are just telling her all these negative things. And
Mm-hmm.
so I won't spoil the whole book if you want to read it. Again, it's Turtles All the Way Down. John Green. He also wrote The Fault The Fault in Our Stars,
Mm-hmm.
which is a great movie if you haven't seen it. Shailene Woodley and Ansel Elgort. Hopefully they will make a Turtles All the Way Down movie.
That would be amazing. That book really brings to light mental health issues too.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
and mental health.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Mhm.
yes. Definitely. I mean, being in psychology, I feel like mental health is something that I know has a lot of importance.
Mhm.
I feel like I've
Very
always
important.
known that, but
Just as important as your physical health.
yes, oh my gosh. And even it's the
Yeah.
same thing. And
Health
even
is health.
Health
Mhm.
is
for
health.
sure.
Yeah, no matter if you have a unique difference or you don't. I mean, I've learned so much. I've been struggling. Okay, real talk. I've been struggling with these headaches. And we were on vacation, my family and I, and about 3 days before we were set to leave, I got really, really sick. Like, we're talking dehydration, and I, practically passed out in the kitchen. Luckily, we knew people who knew medical people, not just my amazing stepfather, who is an emergency room physician. Shout out to all you emergency room doctors.
Woo!
Yes.
I
We-
feel like we should have a little fan fest
Yes.
for that.
Yes, we love emergency room doctors and nurses, but if we hadn't had the resources that we had, I don't think I'd be sitting here right now. That sounds so morbid, but in a way, it's the truth. And now it's like just figuring out like, why am I getting these pressure headaches? So I've been going to doctors. I'm going to another one next week. But I mean, I feel fine. It's just that one moment when you get that headache that just kind of, it's almost like a knockdown, drag out.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I had to miss Mariah and I's women's Bible study the other night. It was
Sucks.
that bad. But you know what? I don't let it define me.
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely.
Because I am a Christian. I am a strong woman. I've got a great support system around me, both here and at home. And I've had 3 or 4 shunt surgeries in my life where they've had to literally cut my head open while I was asleep to fix the tubing. And I'm still here, you guys. And I'm living my life the way that I should live it. And I know there's probably some of you out there who are struggling right now mentally or physically, and you're just like, I don't know if I can do this. You can do this. You are more than able. That's why I chose the name of this podcast, was because you are more than able to do anything you put your mind to. Even if a doctor says, oh no, you can't do that. Or your parents are like, well, I don't know. I mean, you should listen to your parents.
Absolutely.
Don't get me wrong. Don't let somebody tell you you can't do something, because you can do it. And I'm, like, right now, I'm learning with help from Fatu and Mariah how to be independent, like, live on my own, like, do simple things like laundry, cleaning my bathroom, going grocery shopping. It's possible. Anything is possible in life. And like I said, if you set your mind to it, you can do it. All right, I'm done preaching. Anybody
Give you
else want to
snaps.
add anything?
I love that.
Yes,
That was
snaps.
good.
That was so
Absolutely,
beautiful.
that was
I'm about to
great.
cry.
Yes.
So many emotions.
I think, Margie, we need to make a point. You should never apologize for preaching.
Yes.
I think you should just go for it.
Yeah,
Do
you're
not
doing
even give us
amazing.
a warning. Just go for it. You're good at
Go
it.
off.
Yeah, like when you talk, we listen.
Yeah.
Like
Yes, it's
Have
very
you not- Have you not
impactful.
seen that we've all been like,
just intently.
I'm just amazed.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just
this is
taken
great.
back right now.
Usually, people don't start this strong.
Mhm.
People don't start this good. This is usually like the point we get to after a few tries. But this is literally like, what? We threw the microphones on for maybe 5 minutes before this, and then we just went for it.
Mhm.
And this is where the conversation has got to.
Amazing. You're such a natural,
Yeah.
Margie.
Yeah, flows
this is-
effortlessly.
It
This
is
is
very,
great.
really flows.
I feel very comfortable. Does everyone else feel comfortable? I
Very.
feel
Yes.
comfortable.
Oh yes.
I feel
Very
loosey
comfortable.
goosey.
Loosey goosey.
Oh. Well. I am so excited for what's to come.
Maybe could you tell us a little bit about that? Like, what is
Oh,
to
yes.
come?
Yes.
Where do you want this podcast to go? Who do
So-
you want to talk to? Tell us.
Mhm.
Well, Jasmine, since you asked, like I said, I want this to be a voice for people with unique differences who feel like they don't have a voice, or they don't really know what they're doing, or even parents like of young children who are just kind of trying to figure this all out.
Yep.
So what I'm thinking about doing is I'm thinking about interviewing people from my past who have gotten me to where I am today, whether it's like some of my teachers, my occupational therapists, my parents, even some of my friends who are kind of going through the same thing. Like, I have friends who are already living on their own and going to work, and one of my friends even does like a plethora of sports. It's just amazing. And then I have another friend who is just absolutely like one of the most Christian guys I've ever met, and he is living on his own with a unique difference, but he's also thriving. Like, he's living on his own, he's working, he's doing great. And my shout out to my amazing boyfriend. He is living on his own as well, and he's working for a very, very well-known company here in town, and he drives, he has his own place, and we're having a great time. Like, we have great conversations, and I don't know if I should say this or not, but I'm his first girlfriend, and we're having a great time. His birthday's on Friday, and
Happy birthday, Parker!
Yes. And I'm going to be with his entire family, or not his entire family, just his mom, dad, and brother.
So
We're going,
immediate family.
yeah,
Cool.
we're going to dinner, and it's gonna be great. I've known his family for a long time, so I'm not too nervous about it, but I mean, it's different when you've gone from being friends to in a relationship.
Absolutely.
And you have, like, your family's involved now. So, I mean, I don't know if any of you can attest to that, but
I definitely can.
For sure.
I can.
oh yeah, the married one in the bunch.
Yeah, I can. It's interesting. It definitely changes a relationship once, like, families are introduced to families, and you know.
Very true.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to my dad yesterday, and turns out my boyfriend's dad's company is somewhat of a competitor to my dad's company.
Ooh.
And I didn't realize it, of course, because I don't know my boyfriend's dad all that well. And so he was like, my dad was like, yeah, it's somewhat of a competition. I was like, well, are you okay with me dating him? This guy, Parker? And he said I can mention, like, my dad's company to Parker's dad, and so fingers crossed there won't be any weirdness or awkwardness. But yeah, my dad is so great. My parents are divorced.
Mine too.
Yes. Shout out to divorced kids. Doesn't matter if you're 10 or in your 20s or 30s. But my dad is the greatest guy, and he's so funny, and we have great talks, especially now that I've gotten older. Like, Jazz, I don't know what your relationship is with your dad, but when you get to be in your 20s and your 30s, regardless of if your parents are still married or if they're separated or if they're divorced, and if you have a unique ability or a unique difference or you don't, the relationship changes
Absolutely.
because you are now an adult just like they're adults. And one thing I've learned is the conversations change and they can be deep, which is great because you can have that conversation that you probably weren't prepared for. And it can be the most life-changing conversation you could ever have. I have had those conversations with my dad, and I mean, moms are a little different. Like, especially my mom. Hi, Mom. Because I live with her and my wonderful stepdad. Talk about unique differences. It's the same with your parents. I'm just gonna come right out and say it. It's the same with your parents. Like, especially when you're getting to that independent stage where you're like, oh yeah, I got this. Like, I know what I'm doing. But then they kind of pull you back and they're like, well, you don't really know yet. And you're like, oh, right.
Yeah.
I mean, I love my parents. Both sets of my parents. My dad is remarried to a wonderful woman. It'll be about 23 years this coming May. My mom and my stepdad 8 in June. And bonus, they get along, all four of them.
That's great.
That's really awesome.
And, like, my dad and my stepmom wanted to take my mom and my stepdad out for their birthdays. So we went out to dinner, the 5 of us, and it was mostly just me sitting there listening to them talk about golf and life and everything, which I was kind of like, okay, this is awkward.
Yeah, golf will not be a topic on the More Than Able podcast. Just making a note of that right now.
Yeah, no. I mean, mini golf, maybe. I love mini golf.
I love mini golf.
I do love mini golf.
If you don't like mini golf, you are lying.
Yes.
I'm just gonna say it.
And if you try and bash it, then turn this podcast off.
Yeah, just turn it off right now.
Just press pause.
Yes.
Close the app.
Walk away slowly.
Walk away. Yeah.
Walk away.
Don't come back.
But seriously, it's like, that's another thing too, is like, with my unique difference, I cannot swing a club to save my soul. And I know that's the same with everybody. But I love to mini golf.
Yeah.
Like, spring and summer, I am out there. That's like the only real sport, well, that and swimming and tennis.
I love swimming.
Oh, swimming's so fun.
Grew up swimming. So.
That I can really do with my hydrocephalus, which I don't think has really ever bothered me, that I can't do a ton of contact sports. And because I know the risks, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And life is gonna do that to you. You're gonna come across things that you can't do, and you're gonna come across things that you think you can't do, but you really can do.
Yeah.
And if you set your mind to it, and you have the right people in your corner, like I do, you're gonna be fine. You may even be great fantastic. I mean, I could spend all day saying all the words that you could be, but we don't have that much time, so.
It would be a long list.
Yeah.
For
You're
sure.
amazing. You're beautiful.
Yes.
You're lovely.
Inspiring.
Yes.
Impactful.
So yeah, I'm hoping with this podcast that everybody listening will get something out of it. Whether it's my story, Mariah's story, Fatu's story, Jazz's story, and even the people who will be on the podcast, hopefully, that you feel inspired and you feel heard, because that's another thing I've struggled with too, is finding my voice. And that's the other reason why I wanted to do this podcast, was, like I said in the beginning, I want to be your voice, or I want to help you be your own voice in this world, because you, whether you're nonverbal or you're hard of hearing or you talk, you do have a voice, and you just need to know how to use it and when to use it, and hopefully you'll be like me and you'll have a great support system to back you up through the bad times and cheer you on through the good times, like I've been able to.
Well, Margie, I know you said you've struggled in the past with finding your voice, so I think you sure have found it, because everything you've
Yes.
just said is so impactful and so inspiring. I don't think anyone could have said it better than you.
Honestly, and I can just say I'm excited to see you dominate the podcast world,
Oh, yeah.
because it's inevitable at this point that this is going to touch so many people and just be
Yep.
such an inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you for listening. On behalf of Jasmine, Mariah, and Fatu and myself, we thank you for listening, and just remember, you are more than able.